let me start by having a couple of greetings other than the military which kind of reflects on Charles directly is a little of this, surf ups for him, a little of this to Shaker, his housing, and his altar board days, prayerful, and of course his Howard days, well, it was Black Power, and back to his peace and love, which we'll end with. So I don't have any notes. It's hard to follow little sister Dr. Brownie, Dr. B. She's squared away, as we say in the military, but does this look kind of corny? Sorry. This is like the next brother up, so I have to carry it on. Yeah, I have to feel that I'm trying to feel Big Brother Charles. What do you want me to say without being too personal? So as my beautiful niece has said, Big Brother Charles tried to get back here, and probably the saddest part for me is, quite frankly, I was scheduled to meet him in Atlanta, and had all the reservations set and everything in the hotel. So Charles, no, Mike, you're not my daddy. I'm all right. Charles, I can hear it in your voice. I need to be there in Atlanta. So unfortunately, he passed away before we got to Atlanta. And never met him there, but I was prepared to carry him into. So. Sorry. All right. So we're going to go with the who, the when, the where, and thank you, the what of it all. I call it. Did something similar with my mother. Keep me on track a little bit, as Dr. Browning said. You don't want to stand up here and ramble, but I'm a military guy, so I'm used to giving information briefings and all that type of thing. So when I speak of the who of it all, it's going to be a little bit reflective of what Dr. B, I call her, said. And first of is speaking of Big Brother Charles' character. I remember as a little boy riding on the front of his bike. And he said, you're not gonna fall. I wouldn't advise it to the little kids nowadays. I think we had a Huffy bike or some old on the Travis Air Force Base, and I think he's 7 years older than me. So I'd sit on the front of the bike because we had to go across the Air Force Base to get to the pool, and we stayed in the pool all the time. So it's okay, Charles, I didn't have my bike yet. I sit there like on the front. He put his head on my, you're okay, Mike, you're okay. So what I'm trying to illustrate is I never fell. Charles was very supportive, and I trusted my big brother. Big Brother Charles was trustworthy, very trustworthy. The swimming, as we got to the pool, I try to follow the chronology, bear with me, please. When we got to the pool, we had a little officers' pool where we lived in officers' quarters, just about the only black family, but we normally went to the other side of the base and went to the larger pool where the high dive and the platforms were. So Big Brother Charles, as was spoken of earlier, we all swam. Our mother, Grandma Annette, made sure we all went to swimming lessons. So we all hang at the pool. He was definitely by far the expert swimmer. I would go to the pool when he was there to watch him on the high dive. Platform. Okay, so we'd swim for a while, and he'd be over there sunbathing, being cool. And I think he'd get me to get on the high dive again. And I was always kind of the scary one, really. That's what I'm like, my daddy. So he would get up on the board, and as he got up on the board, we'd be like 4, 5, 6 hours at the pool. And when he got up there, everybody would literally stop and say, check the high, check the high. So they'd watch Charles get up and do, 2.5 flip and hopefully not hit his eardrum, which he has blown out eardrums before. So that was an experience that we always enjoyed about Uncle Charles, or Big Brother Charles. Another was just what he did as a brother to us as we traveled. For example, we lived 3 different places in Hawaii. Eva Beach, Alimanu, and a little while on Hickam. And our father, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Sr., retired, went to Vietnam over there. So consequently, Charles Jr. handled things for us and watched over us when sometimes we didn't go outside too much and we lived off base. For example, on Halloween, I remember Charles, Grandma Annette would lock up the house. You're not going trick-or-treating. This is when we were off base, I think at Eva Beach, right? Yeah. You can't go outside, which I understood why, I took my sons just to the mall to go trick-or-treat. But anyway, Uncle Charles would put on the scariest mask and run down the hallway and up and down and ooh! And he'd hand us candy, and that's what a big brother does. He's 7 years older. Did he really want to be doing that? No, he'd rather be out hanging at the beach. And speaking of the beach, I can remember with his high school sweetheart, which we all know, he spent the last part of his life with Jean. every once in a while they let me take, I go to the beach with them. And you're talking about being a surfer. Whew. They let me go, and I'd be scared to watch him. He'd get on the cliffs, and he literally would dive off the cliffs, and body surfers surf into the cliffs and kick off. And I'm sitting there thinking, don't hit these cliffs. Is he going to come back alive? You know. And as Shelley said, he was a fantastic storyteller. You know, we're my brother David and myself and Charles. A lot of times we were in one room with two sets of bunk beds, and Charles would come back from surfing, and I'd stay up a lot of times just to see if he came back alive. You know? Sometimes he'd have scars on his back. You're talking 15, 20-foot waves on the North Beach of Hawaii or Pipeline or wherever he went. A lot of times we didn't really know where he went. So, Charles, you tell us a story? Okay, you got to go to Maryknoll School. This is Maryknoll High School. He's got precious uniforms and things to do. Catholic military high school. So he'd sit up and tell the stories, right there. All of us, and I got the big one, and this happened and that happened, and we'd fall asleep. And so kind of wrapping up some of the stories was really, I guess I need to talk about the music part really, so I won't forget. And as Shelley so eloquently stated, we crowded around on the lanai and watched Charles with Mom's organ, and I think he was starting to play the saxophone too, with the guys in the group called The Souls. And like Shelley said, everybody in the neighborhood, and we had our little cutoffs on and no shoes and long hair and all that. When we had a lot of hair, we were hanging out in the Souls. Waldo and Pinky. Waldo on the bass, big Samoan looking guy, and Pinky, playing the lead. Charles taking Grandma Ned's, Mom's Ned's organ. So that was an experience. So those are the things about his character, and of course, coming back here to Tuskegee, I would like to say, and Big Sister Age is going to talk about I think a little bit about his medical and nursing and things here in Tuskegee, but he cared about the people in Tuskegee. So when they meet in this garden over there at Bibb Street, he would make all the vegetables he could and hand them out to people, and he was just so caring. And one of our classmates, I tend to look at Facebook a little bit. Uncle Mike's on Facebook. I'm on Facebook checking out what's going on. But one of the classmates, one of my classmates from Tuskegee, I'm Tuskegee class 79, he helped them move, he did things with that little old truck he had. He helped people in the neighborhood. And of course, he was a healthcare provider, and he worked at John A. in the economics fields. And so, that's the who. The where of it all, it'll probably take me 5 minutes to say that, but our life was, so much of a chronology of where we lived, and that says a lot about who we are. So, as you see in the bio, I'm sorry if I'm a little redundant, I was born in Topeka, Kansas. So personally, I've lived in over 25 houses and homes in my life, being a military brat, as they say, and being in the military as well. But we were Topeka, Kansas, where he was born. Of course, Mom Annette and Charles Sr. Were married at St. Andrew's Church, and then not too long after that, they had their son Charles Jr. and they went in Topeka, Kansas. He was born. And they went to France, and we have some beautiful pictures of Mom holding the one son for 4 years. He's the only child now, and that was probably tough. Dad was pretty tough on Charles, but he was disciplined. I watched him. Everything he did wrong, I learned from it. I was kind of in the middle. I'm the middle child, so I could learn. So I'll say this: we went from Topeka, Kansas, France, back to Kansas, Wichita, Kansas. I'll say where we got. Then we got Big Sister Adrian. From there, we went to North Carolina. Greensboro, North Carolina AT&T. I'm reflecting on Charles and how he lived his life, and obviously, and then that's where I was born. When Gramps, as we call him, was a ROTC instructor. Then we went to Brand 2 Air Force Base in Illinois. The famous musician David was born. And I'm serious, I'm not joking about famous musician. And y'all hear some of that, so, as well as Carl Reeves, famous musician. So then we went to Philippines. Shelley was having me laughing the other day when they were flying in. Said, Mike, I better have my passport. So I might not be able to get back in the U.S. because she's a naturalized citizen. She was born in Clark Air Force Base, Philippines. So you imagine all this going on. That's why the family, part of the reason why we bonded so much, and Big Brother Charles was so much of the leader of the family, flying all over. And there's, all 5 of us with these little bags getting off these whatever Air Force flight from back to California. California second time, and then this is more getting close to having his beautiful daughters. You know, like Aunt Adrian said, my big sister Adrian, when he went off to Howard, that was the saddest day of her life. You have pictures, and I'm standing back there looking at this. And Shelly's kissing him, and it's very sad, you know. But he's going like to another world to us, from Hawaii to. Can you imagine going from, you know, Eva Beach, Hawaii to Washington D.C. This is this right here. He survived, met his first beautiful wife, Fazra. So then he spent some time in New York, seeing the bio. He very smart, like Shelly said. You know, economics major. Worked in international banking, manufacturing, Hanover Trust. Lived in New York for a while. As a matter of fact, after my sophomore year, my wife Adrian and one of my friends from California, we drove up and helped them move from the Bronx. And that was something. You know, spending time with them up there. But they needed to get a little Naima, you know, from there, and things were a little hectic up there in New York, so they came to Tuskegee to live for a while. And then, you know, I'm not going to say anything too personal about his life, and I'm not going to speak about anything about relationships. You know, I'm not passing judgment on anybody's relationships and how, you know, who they were married to and who they weren't married to. But he was a loving father and a partner. Let's put it like that. Then Cheyenne, his lovely daughter Cheyenne, her mother Michelle. You know, they married here in Tuskegee. And Charles, you know, he went to Wyoming for a while. Lived in Wyoming for a while. His daughter named Cheyenne. I don't even know, we know a little bit about why. He always telling me the other day, I said, wow, because actually I was in St. Louis working in the aviation project office for a while. He stopped through and he said, you going to Wyoming, man? So then he did that for a while, then came back here. So that's the where of it all, I think, pretty much wrapped.
California.
They lived in California twice. Yeah, we lived, and a little in LA, actually.
He lived in California.
Yeah, he lived with us, and yeah, he moved back to California right now and got out of there because of the
Earthquakes.
earthquakes. Thanks, yeah. So then, obviously, he came back to Tuskegee, and many years, and you know, and spent some time in Hawaii as well. So that's the where. The what of it all, I think, my fourth W. The what of it all is just everything he did. Like Shelly said, he was just a high performer. You know, from the time he played baseball as a little boy, and I watched him. You know, he's competing, and I'm 7, he's 14, and obviously made me win the ball player. I played at Tuskegee, you know, for a few years. And, you know, all the he was really like David and myself in one. He was the musician and the athlete and the father, and just everything rolled up in one. And we kind of watched him, right? And we just kind of spun off Big Brother Charles.
Great athlete.
Charles, I learned a lot from Big Brother Charles, and a lot taught us how to be tough. So, so the why of it all, I wrap up here, is to me, what he taught us, and I mentioned one lady, a very important lady in our lives that I haven't mentioned, is Grandma Kelly.
Yes.
You know, and that's the why of it all. And you know, matter of fact, I was talking to David Banks when we came here. He picked us up from the airport when we came in here in '74. David Banks and our cousin came with us. With you, well, it was definitely David, and he picked us all up, and we went down to Alabama Avenue and lived our life here. But the why of it all, I'll say this: Grandma Kelly said, "Boy, you're like Socrates." She used to tell me that all the time, because I lived in an apartment back of her house a couple of years when I started college before we got married. She said, "Boy, you're like Socrates." So I can't philosophize on this. The older I get, I try to free my mind about things that I can't understand. But I can tell you for sure the why of it all with Charles was, he proved to us that you need to live your life to the fullest. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with our health, but you know, whether it be see a sweetheart from 50 years, 40 years ago, or go back to where you want to, you know, surf again, see the ocean, and also take care of your affairs, and just be ready for what's going to happen to all of us. So, thank you for listening, and that I just say, you know, peace, love.